PS2, he earned every bit of that. But it reminded me, like when he was first drafted, Phil, there were those in the media was like, "Oh, the Broncos made a mistake. Why did they go out and draft a corner when they could have drafted Justin Fields?" And just kind of look at the situation Fields is in right now. But the Broncos did a great thing, man. And to build a defense, you need to establish a culture, and having a cornerstone piece like that was important.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a lockdown corner like this because it just can allow your defense to do so many more
Yeah.
things. When you can just have, I mean, you played with Champ, you know what it's like to have a guy like that. So, yeah, awesome to reward your players, and PS2 has earned every bit of that. Aside from him, though, Nick, it feels like maybe this defense is going to go through some growing pains. What concerns you about that side of the ball?
Well, what concerns me is the chemistry and at the safety position. Brandon Jones comes over from the Miami Dolphins. We hadn't really seen anything of him in the preseason because he's been hampered with injuries. So you go into week one on the road with a very experienced Seattle offense, and communication is so important. Obviously, this game, no matter how it ends, especially if it doesn't end well, the conversation is going to go back to Justin Simmons, not having him there. So there's going to be a heavy load placed on Brandon Jones and PJ Locke. So seeing how those two cohesively work together in week one on the road against a talented Seattle offense with, Draymond Jones and Noah Fant playing against their former team. And I can tell you this, guys always want a little get back. So it's going to be important for those two guys in the back end to show that they can communicate, but also be productive as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, really, the whole middle of the field is a little bit of a question mark, especially if there's injury problems later on in the season, Nick. I mean, the depth just isn't there. And then even at inside linebacker, they go out and pick up Christian Welch after the, initial cut down to 53. And Sean Payton even said, hey, this is an area that we need to address here. And so how do you feel about that inside linebacker position, too?
Well, that inside linebacker position was one of the many concerns that I had for the Broncos coming into the preseason. I thought Jonas Griffin was going to be on this team. I was shocked that he didn't make this roster because when you talk about the middle linebacker position, it's a position that is seemed to be the captain of the defense, gets guys lined up, a position that sets the tone for the game. And Alex Singleton, he is that tone setter. Look at how many tackles that he's made in his tenure with the Broncos. But once again, with that brings about issues because it's depth. What happens if there isn't an Alex Singleton in the lineup? Because this would be his second year in Vance Joseph's defense. So if he's not in the mix with the green dot, you got someone else, Cody Barton, making those calls. Can he get guys lined up? Can he focus and concentrate on what he has to do as well? So it presents some difficulties, but that is going to be another position that we're going to watch because the Broncos, look, they did a lot of things this offseason trying to build their defense and also trying to become a better run-stopping team, something that proved to be problematic. And knowing Kenneth Walker he did well for the Seattle Seahawks last year, as a young running back, catching the ball out of the backfield, running between the tackles. So the Broncos will be testing on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, Alex Singleton's gonna have to have like 250 tackles this year. I mean, something
No.
just insane.
Think about that, Phil. See, even though for your linebacker you expect that, but you don't really want that because now you're talking about wearing him down. Will he be
Yeah,
healthy at the back end of the season? And then also knowing as though the Broncos bye week isn't too late in the season. I mean, that's a lot of
you got
pounding
to
that.
get there. Yeah.
Yes. So you hoping that, the personnel changes they made up front can keep him clean where all he has to do is be like a Zach Thomas. I'm just going to run, scrape, and make tackles.
Yep. And the Jonas thing, I mean, that was sad. I think that he went down with another serious injury there to his knee. So, yeah, tough spot there, that inside linebacker position there, Nick. Last thing I want to ask you about on defense, Riley Moss. Is he ready to be that number 2 corner? Because playing opposite PS2, he's going to get a lot of balls.
Well, there's no thing of asking, is he ready? He has no choice. Right. It's almost like when I played with the Broncos, any corner that played opposite of Champ Bailey, you were going to get that work. I watched Darren Williams excel as a draft. Well, he was drafted, but later drafted guy, and he's excelled well, and he handled that pressure. And then Dre Bly, another veteran guy, had to be able to put on his shoes and be able to man up opposite Champ. So we're going to get a chance to see because now, here's what we know in this matchup. PS2 is probably going to follow DK Metcalf around because that's kind of the matchup. But if Mike McDonald is smart, he's going to move DK around. So you just can't follow him the way you want to, and you're going to create a matchup with Riley Moss. And if you don't get DK, you're going to get Tyler Lockett, who is a veteran in his own right, or Jackson and Jigba. So this is going to be a test for Riley Moss to see if he can handle this. I got a lot of confidence in him, but you know what? The other team is going to make plays. Can you bounce back? And I think Riley will be able to do that, but it's still going to be a test nonetheless.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Just hey, week 1, if you see some matchups against DK Metcalf, good luck. I mean, that's not easing into that role. I'll tell you what.